Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today. Happy Friday. Hope all of you are doing absolutely fantastic as we roll into this weekend. I'm personally planning to play a little bit of Mario Golf and SMT4, and I'm curious to hear what your plans are. Fire away down below. But ladies and gentlemen, what better way to start off a weekend than, of course, some Xbox news. So we're talking about Halo Infinite, getting a particular topic answered that we've had a lot of questions about. So we're going to be diving into that first and foremost, but also we'll be talking Killer Instinct. Baby, the return may actually happen. And last but not least, Fable, the elusive Fable, the one we want to know so much about. We get a little bit of an update on that and kind of what to expect with it. So if you're new here and you're interested in more Xbox conversations, consider subscribing. And also, a thank you to all of you who were kind and courteous and enjoyed the Game Pass video yesterday. Even if it wasn't the most agreeable subject, I paid close attention to that feedback, and thank you all so much. I was floored by it. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. Link in the description down below. With all that aside, let's talk Halo Infinite. So the title of the article is Halo Infinite team feels good about holiday release. Phil Spencer reassures. For those who are not caught up, pretty much everything at the Xbox E3 2021 showcase got a date except Halo Infinite, the big dog. The big dog doesn't have a date, but guess what? Starfield does. Starfield, you can put that on your calendar for November of next year. That'll happen. But Halo, which is coming out this fall, no, not quite yet. Why was that the case? Well, on a podcast that Phil Spencer guested on, he answered this very question. So let's get into what he had to say. We know kind of our range in the 3 to 4 week range, Spencer said during an interview with Dropped Frames. We don't have an exact day. There's some other things with some other game timing that we're trying to look at. We'll have better clarity over the summer, but this isn't a month's thing. This is just down to a few weeks. Instead of picking this date and having to move it by a week, which at this point would feel like a fail, we don't want to do that. Let's wait until we're really solid on what the date is, he said, adding that 343 Industries is very committed to the holiday. So mine and many others' concern was if you can't commit to a date, then this game may get delayed in 2022. And that was absolutely a reasonable fear. It seems like his reasoning here is sound. I don't know if Halo necessarily needs to, what I'm guessing when he says we're waiting for game timing is see what Call of Duty has to say about a release date. I think Halo's big enough, especially if you're going free to play. Halo's going to be loud this fall. I feel good about it, man. Even if the game's decent, I feel like the multiplayer is going to be unavoidable because it's such an easy buy-in. Or who cares when COD's releasing? Now, if you're being conscious of Call of Duty releasing next to Forza, releasing next to Halo, like it's impacting other things that you're doing, sure. My guess is while I would have loved to have seen them hit the November 15th anniversary date, my personal guess is late November, right? Come after Battlefield, come after, of course, Call of Duty, which I imagine would be before that, and release after all of them when they've effectively shot their loads. Come in with your free-to-play multiplayer and be like, come to the new wave, baby. Let's go. Let's enjoy this holiday period. And I think that seems realistic for what they're doing and how they're gauging it. And I think take every single day that you can as long as you're not sniffing December, right? As long as you're not there in December, I think it's a good look for you. I also understand the hesitation to shift things a week or so. I remember, I think it was The Evil Within 2 got moved up a couple of weeks because they didn't estimate the release properly. And I just think those are the weirdest types of release date movements when it's by week. So if they were that fine in their lack of certainty, then I do feel pretty confident about it coming out this year. In what state it will be in, I don't know, but I think more than a year of a delay should have been plenty of time because the gameplay looks sound. It continues to look sound. We have a whole video dedicated to talking about that. Also, thank you for the support on that video. Really appreciate it. But I think it looked like a good game, so it's really just about upping how it looked, how it probably ran, and who knows what else. But that's kind of the word on Halo Infinite, which very relieving to hear. But you know what's more relieving? Well, more might be hyperbolic, but something I've been dying to hear, and it looks like we got some answers. Phil Spencer talking about Killer Instinct, one of the best launch games of all time, in my opinion. 2013's Killer Instinct, a very sound fighter, free to download, or you buy the deluxe edition for 20 bucks. Either way you were playing, you were eating good. This was a great fighter. Xbox not known for fighters, and despite its bumpy road going from like Double Helix to Iron Galaxy, they added a story mode, they added Arbiter in. I mean, they did such a good job with this game, I thought, with all of the transitions it had to face. And then it just sort of disappeared. And I've said time and time out, Xbox needs a fighter. Seems Phil agrees. Let's read. Xbox could get a new Killer Instinct game if Phil Spencer finds the right team. Microsoft's head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, said that a new Killer Instinct game could be made if he could find the right team and the right opportunity. Talking as part of an interview with the podcast Dropped Frames, Spencer spoke about the team at Xbox's view on Killer Instinct. Quote, "There are so many good games in our catalog that we'd love to visit," end quote, he said. Quote, "The response when we redid Killer Instinct at launch of the Xbox One was fantastic," end quote. He went on to say that he and Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, have discussed many times Killer Instinct and where we would like to go with it. And it might be out of our minds, but it's in our hearts and in our minds that we want to continue to do something with Killer Instinct. As to when the continuation could happen, Spencer says, it's about finding the right team and the right opportunity, but it is not due to any lack of desire on our part. It's a little sentimental, if I do say so myself. Phil really speaking from the heart there of, it's not a lack of desire. We haven't forgotten about it. It's in our hearts. It's in our minds. Why did I touch my head when I said heart? I don't know, but I love this. I'm so excited by this purely by how much I adored Killer Instinct in 2013. I played that more than anything else that came out at launch, and probably up until Sunset Overdrive, it was like the only Xbox exclusive that I kept coming back to. It was one of the few bright spots of the Xbox One generation. So this has me thrilled to hear that. Finding the right studio and the right opportunity. Okay, speculation time. We have heard rumors of Warner Bros. Getting rid of some of those studios that are holding them down. They recently sold a mobile team to EA, and in a follow-up comment, they did mention this was a move to support the development of other popular IP within Warner Bros., which would indicate the likes of Batman, Injustice, you would imagine, and, of course, Mortal Kombat. With that, let's pause. It's possible they hold their IP and sell the studio. So what if Xbox comes in, cash in hand, says, hey, we got a couple of bill to throw. Why don't you give us NetherRealm? And then Xbox puts NetherRealm on the next Killer Instinct game. Look, I'm just saying, I love the feel of Killer Instinct from 2013. It was this rapid fighting game that plays very different from really anything I've played. Like, each of them have their own feeling. I think NetherRealm has a little bit of weight to it. I think there's an elegance to an Arc System fighter, and then there's just some type of weird, clicky feeling to what a Killer Instinct fighter game feels like. I would love to see NetherRealm tackle something like that. I think that could be a fit. I mean, you got this dedicated fighting game studio, top of their game, could come and make a cool-ass story for Killer Instinct. I mean, Of course, that is just speculation. That is my desire. We have no idea if Microsoft will do this, but I know they certainly have the money, especially if they are, as Satya Nadella said, all in on gaming. This moment here would not surprise me if it actually came to fruition, but it would likely be a long-term thing, like all of these other studio acquisitions. Like, let NetherRealm finish what they're doing, let them support it, then move on. So just some thoughts there on how they can maybe get that deal done. And of course, there are other studios that are into fighting games. I know Iron Galaxy has expressed desire in the past to say, hey, we'd love to work on another Killer Instinct game. So maybe they team up with them, or maybe Xbox wasn't satisfied with it. I didn't track that transition so closely in the terms of what did the quality of the game feel like before and after. So maybe there's something there. I personally don't know. But overall, pretty cool news on that front. Now, let's get into the moment I think a lot of you have been waiting for, which is just, let's talk about Fable. The word Fable has been said, so what am I going to do? Ignore it? No. Come on. Let's talk. Xbox boss says Fable fans should take confidence from Playground's Forza Horizon work. This comes from Video Games Chronicles. Microsoft head of gaming was asked to provide an update on the project during the latest Dropped Frames podcast. Quote, "The only thing I can really say about Fable is seeing the pedigree of the team and Playground and where they set the bar for themselves in building a game. I think that showed with Forza Horizon 5's preview that they had. I think people should take confidence in that studio director, Gavin Rayburn, and the studio, that there is that same level of focus on doing something amazing with an IP that we know is really important to a lot of Xbox fans. So we can't wait to show more but the team is just amazing. A little side note from this article that I was not aware of. This isn't new information, but I wasn't aware of it, so I wanted to put it out there for everyone else in case they didn't know. Veterans from Rocksteady, Ninja Theory, Gearbox, and BioWare are working on Fable according to a VGC analysis. The writer behind Control joined the Fable 4 development team as lead writer at Playground Games earlier this year. Anna McGill reports into Fable 4's narrative director, Martin Lancaster, who was previously the lead scriptwriter for Batman Arkham Knight. Pretty good set of talent there that I just wanted to spotlight from top to bottom, but more to what Phil's saying, this is actually, I think, something I touched on a little bit when we talked about Forza Horizon 5, which was for people like myself who I'm interested in Forza Horizon 5 and I do want to play it at launch and try it out at least through Game Pass, but that's not necessarily what lights my fire quite like Fable would have, and I think many others out there, is you can still look at Forza Horizon 5 and appreciate the Forza tech being put into use and the level of detail there and how beautiful it is, and start to equate some of that level of expectations for what Fable will show. I imagine Fable will be visually stunning. We already know it's using the same technology that Forza Horizon uses, so when you combine those two together, I start to think to myself, at least we can say this game will look good. We don't know how to play or anything like that, but I mean, you can anticipate it'll likely be open world. So while Phil didn't say anything in the terms of here's what to expect, he reassured that if you look at Horizon 5 and sort of what was boasted there, like the draw distance, the detail up close, something that was kind of a weird focus on Horizon but makes sense with Fable, we start to put those together, I see what he's saying. Just know that if you liked visually at the bare minimum and world-wise what you saw with Horizon 5, that should be a relative expectation for Fable. Of course, us Fable fans will take anything we can get at this point in time. So I leave you with all that information. Hope you all have a happy weekend. Let me know what you're thinking of this in the comments down below, along with the question I asked at the beginning of the video. And with that, I'll talk with all of you very soon. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who are supporting the crazy content we're doing here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.